Thank you for tuning into Tanaka TV, the best and future biggest fight channel on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that like, that comment, that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 1,000 or maybe over 1,000 subs by my birthday. And that's in about a week and a half, a little bit more than that. So please show your support, people. It'll be a nice birthday gift for your homie who's turning 29 this year, okay? Now, we're going to talk about Andrew Tate and his legitimacy when it comes to fights, when it comes to kickboxing. How legit is he? And when we talk about legitimacy, I think everybody's perspective can be slightly different, right? Is it based on how many fights you've had, whether they were amateur or pro? Did you win those fights? Did you lose those fights? How well did you do? How long have you been training? And so everybody's perspective could be a little bit different. Now I'll start here. I'll start from the ground up. Could he probably beat the average man who hasn't trained, who has no kickboxing experience, who has no fight experience? Then I would say yes, he's legit. Now, when you bring it up to the amateur level, how fair is it to say that he could be legit? And I would say that he's at a really solid amateur level to maybe baseline pro level. Now, I know that he is stated to having multiple pro fights, and I've actually seen a couple of his pro fights online. And what I gathered from it was that he definitely understands the fundamentals of what kickboxing is, because what I watched was his kickboxing fights. And I think he said before that he's had a couple of MMA fights, but I know that the majority of his experience when it comes to competition and combat is kickboxing. And so when I watch his fights, I think that he understands the fundamentals, right? Which is a big deal. I don't want people to hear the word fundamentals and then just think, oh, that's just basic. No, fundamentals is what gets you to the dance. Fundamentals is what makes a person great. And I think he at least understands it. You know, when a person drops their hand after a jab, he knows to throw, some check hooks and things like that. I've seen him in other videos where he'll fight somebody who, granted, may not be that experienced. But you get to see how well he understands the movements of fights. For example, I saw in a video that he was sparring against a guy, and the guy kept throwing a jab, and the dude would drop his hand after the jab. And he threw it a couple times, and he would notice that his hand would drop. I realized that he noticed because he threw a check hook right after the guy threw a jab. Now that leads me to believe that he understands, like I said, the movements of what a person does and how it affects the flow of fights. Dropping your hand after certain punches, utilizing footwork, and how that can hinder you or help you. I think that he understands that. Now, if we're comparing him to a person like Holskin or Israel Adesanya, and when I say Nikki Holskin, right? For those who don't know, he is a phenomenal kickboxer who's fought in glory champion. And so people like that, or even like an Alex Pereira, is he on that level? No, that would be insane for me to say that he's on the level of the greatest kickboxers to grace the octagon or to grace the ring. I don't think he's on that level. However, he is pretty good. His footwork's pretty decent. I think when it comes to defense, at times, he can be a little bit sloppy. But that is nitpicking at certain things that elite fighters would see. And now, I'm not saying that I'm by any means an elite fighter, okay? But I do understand the fight game. I've been training in kickboxing, Muay Thai, boxing for what? Shoot. I mean, I'll be modest and say the last 10 plus years. I'm going on 29 now. I started competing and training competitively when I was around 18, 19 years old. But I did have experience prior to that. I was in karate growing up. I did wrestling. I did jiu-jitsu growing up. And then it transferred into my later teens, and I've been fighting competitively since. I mean, I think this is the first year that since that time that I haven't or I'm not going to fight. And so I understand the fight game. And what would you say that I am not legit because I've never fought at the highest echelon of professional fighting? I think that that would be an unfair statement, right? And so I would give Andrew a check mark as far as legitimacy. As far as how elite, I think that that is still up for grabs for me. I have to research him more and look at more of his fights as time goes on, as things open up to the world. But like I said, as far as what I've seen, I think he understands how the flow of fights work. And that is plenty enough to get you by when it comes to street fights or when it comes to amateur fights. Being able to utilize your footwork, have a good amount of head movement, and understanding the tendencies of people when you are in the midst of a fight. That is so, so important. And so comment down below, guys, what you think about Andrew Tate. Send me some links if you've seen some fights of Andrew Tate's that maybe I haven't seen. Like I said, I haven't seen a whole bunch. I've maybe seen one or two of his fights and then some little 30-second clips here and there of him sparring. And so that's given me a slight idea of his skill level. But maybe there's something that I haven't seen. And so comment down below what you think about Andrew Tate's legitimacy with kickboxing or with fighting. We're taking politics out of this, right? We're taking social ideas out of this. We're just talking about his legitimacy when it comes to combat, sports. I would like to know. So if you've seen a video of his, send me a link. Comment down below the link, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.